Early start this morning, relatively, for the weekend at 6 a.m. Got the Monolith Junior warming up, but today we're doing, well, my normal recipe is a Dr. Pepper infused, marinated brisket, but today, thanks to a little bit of input from someone on the forum, we're doing dandelion and burdock instead. So the brisket's all ready to go from Pynes of Somerset, and then I've got my, I just made my normal dry rub into a wet rub as the meat's already wet, so we'll get that on shortly. So while I was re-prepping my brisket, just adding some of my wet rub, which is basically just my dry rub with a bit of olive oil, as the meat was already marinated and wet anyway. Just waiting for the smoker to come down a little bit in temperature. Vents are where I need them, just a shade open at the bottom. We're doing this all over cherry wood today. Got some chunks and some chips there, and I've also got some of the dandelion and burdock in the drip tray just to steam it a little bit in the beginning. But yeah, so hoping the Monolith, well, I know the Monolith and the qBurn charcoal will burn all day, so just to demonstrate that you can do a decent sized piece of brisket. I think this is about 2 kilos from the butcher before it was dandelion and burdock marinated, so we'll see how we do. Yeah, not much more to say than that, really. As I say, you can see the qBurn charcoal there, all coming up to temperature, plenty of it to keep going all day. So we'll get this on shortly, and we'll update a little bit later when we get round to, I am going to wrap this, I think, but probably not until maybe 6 hours in. We'll do a wrap, so we'll update it then. So the Monolith has come down to temperature. This is 5 minutes on. I just thought I'd show you what 2.2 kilos of brisket looks like on the Monolith Junior. So it takes up most of the space, but it's a good size. If you had the second level grid on, you could probably still have something on the top there as well if you wanted to, some wings or thighs or whatever. So yeah, we'll keep you updated in a few hours when we come to wrap. Just an update on the brisket. Temperature's been holding well now for about 7 hours. I think I've refilled the dandelion and burdock, but I think today we're going to do this no foil just to see how we come out. So update later. So here we are. I think it's what, 11 hours later, but the temperatures have hit anyway. The thinner end has gone to 207 and the thicker end has just hit 203, so I'm happy with that. Going to pull it off and let it rest for a bit before we carve, but pretty pleased, to be honest. It looks good to me, so let's get it resting. Okay, so here's our finished brisket. It's all been checked with the pan and given a half an hour to rest after about 11 and a half hours it was actually in before. I got my look at the clock. So yeah, 11 and a half hours, half an hour resting, and now we can have a look at it. Oh, I did forget to sharpen my knife first, so it's only as sharp as it was on the last one. Get the ends off. There we go, right. There we go. So yeah, as I say, I do like my brisket at about 205, so it's a bit more of a pull texture than a slice, but and it was quite a fatty piece, and as I say, I didn't foil it all the way through, so it was going to be always interesting to see what the texture's like. But there we go, once we get into the middle section, that's slicing quite nicely. That's that sort of pull apart texture. I'm pretty pleased with that. That's and like I say, this started off as a 2.2 kilos, I think it was, piece from Pynes, just to show obviously that the Monolith Junior can do anything that the bigger ceramics can do quite easily. Your only limiting part really is what can fit in the dome, but You know, 2 kilo piece of brisket, beer can chicken, pork shoulder, all fits on quite nicely. So there we go, brisket done.